So the 134th FA Cup final is underway, the 9th since Wembley Stadium was rebuilt. Will the Cup be on its way back to North London or to the West Midlands for the first time this century? Aston Villa in claret and blue, yellow shirts trimmed with blue for Arsenal, which brings back those iconic memories of Alan Sunderland and Charlie George in FA Cup finals past. And the first battle between Joris Okore and Theo Walcott, two players who might see plenty of each other today.
Yeah, you'd think so, and the first mistake from Okore, his first touch there was pretty poor, and I think that was one of the selection dilemmas for Tim Sherwood today. He's got a couple of defenders back, Nathan Baker in particular at the back, but he's gone with Okore, not a good start for him.
Always a magnificent spectacle on Cup final day. Both teams given 25,000 tickets. Wembley, a sea of yellow and blue at one end and claret and blue at the other. Even though it's only 25,000 apiece, everybody seems to be wearing the colours of one of the sides. Here's the danger man for Arsenal, Alexis Sanchez, who's fouled for the first time by Alan Hutton, and that's going to be an Arsenal ball.
A certain foul, sloppy start from Aston Villa, Darren. Rash challenges, mistake by Okore, and then Hutton diving into a challenge needlessly.
So the first opportunity here then for Arsenal, with Santi Cazorla and Mesut Ozil over the free kick. It's in by Cazorla and away by Hutton. I think it's pretty evident early on, isn't it, that the recent sloppiness defensively that we've seen from Aston Villa, where they've allowed teams to set the tempo and take the game to them, they're going to be trying to be on the front foot as much as they can and not allow this Arsenal side to settle. Just a slight offside there against Theo Walcott. And I think if the Southampton match that we commentated on recently, Michael, is anything to go by, Aston Villa will be acutely aware of that pace in behind them, which caused them such a problem that day.
Yeah, that's right. Theo Walcott made a run there. He was never going to get it and just couldn't quite get back on side in time. But as you mentioned, we were there, and for that Southampton game, I mean, I've never seen defending like it. But they can score goals, Villa. They've always got a chance. You've always got a fighting chance in a game if you can score goals.
Jack Grealish gets on the ball for the first time, 19 years of age, a former Villa season ticket holder. Watched his first Aston Villa game as a 4-year-old, an FA Cup tie against Leeds United. What a big day it is for him, the most inexperienced player on the pitch, and a player who really raised his game in the semi-final against Liverpool.
I think Kieran Richardson's got to be aware early on. Ramsey, you don't associate with making runs in behind the full-back. He does that very, very well. Kieran Richardson's got to be on his game.
Here's Fabian Delph, who got the winner against Liverpool in the semi-final. And for the first time, Aston Villa can get the full-back Hutton forward. And the first touch for Wojciech Szczesny, whose last 4 appearances have been in the FA Cup after losing his place in the first team to David Ospina in January. What a bizarre situation it is. 12 months ago, he was the first choice at Arsenal and didn't play in the final. Here he is 12 months on, the backup to Ospina, and he starts on Arsenal's big day.
Yeah, and it is a big day because he's going to be charged with coming out for a lot of crosses, as we just saw a second ago. Villa, their instructions are pretty simple. Get the ball wide and get it one touch and whip it straight in. Benteke needs balls early before any defender can set. He's brilliant in the air. And you'll see a lot of crosses coming in, swung in from Aston Villa fullbacks.
Benteke beaten in the air by Koscielny. Here's Nzogbia, who was given the nod by Tim Sherwood over Agbon Lahore, and the ball played in towards Christian Benteke, and Szczesny alive to the danger. Wembley absolutely packed to the rafters, a worldwide television audience of over 500 million people today, and there's around 25,000 people at the Emirates Stadium watching the match on 4 big screens that have been erected because of the demand for tickets. Arsenal, the form side coming into the match, 1 defeat in 15 matches. That loss against Swansea recently, the only blemish. Villa ended the season with successive defeats against Southampton and Burnley after a run of 4 wins in 5 before that. But I suppose on a day like this, the FA Cup final, we know from days gone by you can wipe out the form book.
Yeah, form goes out the window. I see Shay Given there, just coming off his line to collect. I think he's going to have to do that. Theo Walcott is always going to be looking for that space in behind today. He's got to be almost acting as a bit of a sweeper for that Villa back four, who we know aren't blessed with the greatest amount of pace.
Ashley Westwood sends it forward towards Benteke, away by Monreal. He was another decision that Wenger had to make today. Was it going to be Gibbs or Monreal? The Spaniard got the nod, and then Benteke caught offside. Sure, the slight deflection on the ball helped out the Belgian international there.
Yeah, I think it was a good decision from the assistant. He was quite clearly offside, set off a little bit too early. You can see with the cut of grass there, he's just leaning in. Certain offside decision.
I'm surprised both teams are playing a high line now. Benteke's pace, Walcott's pace. Look at Villa's back four. As soon as the ball goes to midfield, they drop off, they give themselves 5 yards. They don't want Walcott to run in behind.
Coquelin looks for a bit of space and finds it. Here's Alexis Sanchez, and on the move there for Arsenal through the centre. There's Ramsey. Sanchez once more, and now Cazorla. Arsenal looking to get something going here. Dangerous ball in. And the final touch came off Ron VAR. Richardson was in there too, but they couldn't really afford to take a gamble there, Aston Villa.
No, I love that little outside the foot flick through from Sanchez. And that's not a bad ball either. Theo Walcott just pulling out onto the penalty spot. You're going to be the one striker. You've got to get in that 6-yard box, Theo. Let your midfield players come and fill that goal.
First chance for Mertesacker and Koscielny to get themselves into the Aston Villa penalty area. Swung in by Cazorla and away by Christian Benteke, who's back there helping out. Here's Coquelin. Tracking back well there for Aston Villa was Nzogbia. It's one of those days, isn't it, where you've got to make your tackles. It was a Corre, in fact, who got in there to make the challenge in the end for Villa. There's the danger. Mertesacker's got both Benteke and Vlaar with him, with Koscielny in the vicinity too. Again, it's Cazorla, this time towards Koscielny. And it was a good run, wasn't it, from the Frenchman to get across the Villa defenders. He just couldn't quite guide the header.
Yeah, I'd like to see who was picking Koscielny up there, because he certainly breaks free. Yeah, it looks like it was Benteke in the end. And that's a bit of a chance. He gets in front of his man. Normally have someone sweeping around the back, yeah. Sanchez was just a little bit late.
Going back to that previous attack from Aston Villa, that's a disadvantage of playing Walcott, because Giroud would make that run to that near post. He's elected for Walcott's pace. If Giroud's in the side, I think he makes that run to the near post.
Well, I suppose the good news as far as Arsenal are concerned is by this stage of last season's FA Cup, they were 2-0 down against Hull City, who made that lightning quick start, and Arsenal needed extra time, and eventually the Aaron Ramsey goal to win the cup. There's Santi Cazorla, but you can see, Michael, can't you, early on, that real desire for the Aston Villa players to press Arsenal.
Yeah, they're not sitting back, are they? And they have got energy in the midfield. I think it was Rio and Maka said before the game about the midfield. They have got energy, but they've just got to be careful that they don't get isolated, go and leave their positions and then get picked off, because Arsenal probably the best team at picking a team off.
There's Ramsey, and this time the challenge made by Delph, which is going to bring Arsenal another corner. It's going to be the outswinger this time from Mesut Ozil. So the run slightly deeper this time from Mertesacker and Koscielny. And Benteke again there to head away for Villa. Another chance for Ozil. Now Cazorla. Really good checking from the Spaniard and a clumsy challenge from Christian Benteke. We'll probably be lucky to get away with this one, Michael.
Yeah, it's brilliant play. Brilliant play from Cazorla. He'll be very lucky if he doesn't see a yellow card. John Moss giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I think it's a poor decision. Doesn't matter whether it's the 10th minute or the 90th minute. He's running into a really dangerous area there. Has to be a yellow card.
Totally agree with Michael. John Moss gets the cup final. You know, he's top of the blunders list in the Premier League. Surprised he got it. Not a good start from the referee.
More pressure, though, on Shay Given's goal. 17 years, the longest spell between starts in FA Cup finals. So we did a bit of digging on that this week, and nobody can find a longer run. So at 39, he's started for Newcastle in 98, was left on the bench by Rout 12 months after that. And he's got the responsibility given to him by Tim Sherwood today. And the free kick is away by Westwood. The best of deliveries from Mesut Ozil.
Well, that looked like it was a little planned one, though, Darren, I think. There's plenty of movement in there. I think they were trying to just move that space. Ozil just plonked it in there, but Villa had marked up well.
Maybe read those plans again. Here's Ozil, now Sanchez, Coquelin, who's been a real revelation for Arsenal this season. Arsenal just trying to move it through the Aston Villa midfield before Vlaar stepped in. Now here's Christian Benteke. Maybe his last appearance for Aston Villa. The summer will tell. Now Richardson. And it goes towards Benteke. Szczesny made the decision. And made a decent punch as well.
Yeah, exactly what I was talking about earlier, Darren, that he's going to have a couple of big decisions to make there. You just saw Richardson delaying the ball. It was Benteke that played it out to him. But then he just delayed and waited for Benteke to get into the box and then floated a perfect ball, really. Real positive play from Szczesny.
Aaron Ramsey's got to be aware. Richardson making the run down the left-hand side. He's got to track him back. It's OK getting forward, creating. He's got to do the defensive side of the game as well, Ramsey.
Tim Sherwood admitted, didn't he, in the build-up to the FA Cup final, that being from Boreham Wood, you're either a Tottenham fan or an Arsenal fan, and he was an Arsenal fan as a boy. He said his dad still watches games regularly at the Emirates Stadium. Said he almost joined Arsenal back in 1996. Bruce Rioch was going to sign him. He lost his job. Arsene Wenger came and signed Vieira and Petit. I suppose they weren't bad alternatives, were they, to Tim Sherwood? So 0-0. And here's the Arsenal captain, Per Mertesacker. Now Monreal. Just caught by Monreal by Cleverley. Benteke got away with one a couple of minutes ago, but Cleverley won't escape the yellow card this time.
Yeah, that was Rio Ferdinand before the game, talking about intelligent closing down. That was poor from Cleverley. He can see Westwood pressing. He goes too late and has to commit a needless yellow card, gets a yellow card, rightly so, from John Moss. Stupid yellow card. You know, he's got a long time to go now. Needless Tom Cleverley button there.
Very good season for them, hasn't he, on loan from Manchester United, Tom Cleverley, the only outfield player to start all 5 of Aston Villa's FA Cup matches, and now the final today. Here's Alexis Sanchez for Arsenal, who was allowed to turn and deliver. Brilliant save by Given. Fantastic reflexes from the 39-year-old. Now the counter-attack on for Aston Villa, led by Grealish. And then Coquelin was tracking back to make the challenge on Delphin. Unfair one, according to John Moss. An Aston Villa free kick, but what a fantastic save from Shay Given.
Yeah, that's Shay Given to a T. Never tends to come off his line to come and catch balls. He will stay back on his line, and this is the reason, because he has got quick reflexes. You'd expect the big man to save it, but save it he does, and the most important thing about this, he palms it to safety as well, out and away.
Here's the free kick from Grealish, which is deep, and confidently claimed by Wojciech Szczesny in goal for Arsenal. He's made a decent start to the game, hasn't he, Szczesny? Been pretty confident under the high ball so far.
It's a very poor set piece from Jack Grealish, not started the game too well. He needs to do better with Benteke in the air in the box.
Here's Aaron Ramsey, now Nacho Monreal, Santi Cazorla. A little bit of space out here for Bellerin, who can have a run at Richardson for the first time, and he's got that little bit of acceleration, hasn't he, Bellerin? And he's done well here, determined play by the youngster. And then Akore was in the right place at the right time at the near post for Aston Villa. After that run had been made into the penalty area impressively by Ramsey.
Yeah, it was brilliant, and that's not a bad ball. I like the run from Ramsey as well, across that near post. That's where you get your goals. That's the danger area. Plays it low and hard across there. Akore does well in the end. That's why he scores so many goals. He's a willing runner, likes to get into the opponent's box.
10 goals this season for Aaron Ramsey, 26 over the last two, and of course that extra time winner 12 months ago against Hull City. Well, the better quality so far in the opening 17 minutes has come from Arsene Wenger's side, but Aston Villa have only had that one real moment of concern, that excellent reflex save from Shay Given.
I think we need to see more of Grealish delve cleverly. The game's passing them by a minute. They can't get to grips with Arsenal's one-touch play in the middle of the park, giving them too much time and space. Want to see more of that midfield trio.
So lots coming up for you on BT Sport. The German Cup final, Borussia Dortmund against Wolfsburg tonight, 6:45 on BT Sport 2. That's Jurgen Klopp's last game in charge. And tomorrow, the Scottish Premiership playoff final, second leg. Motherwell leading Rangers 3-1 from the first leg. That's at 2:15 tomorrow on BT Sport 2. And football stories with the Ox, which is again on BT Sport 2 tomorrow at 3:30. You might know an entirely different chapter of the Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain story by the time you watch that programme tomorrow. Neat layoff by Benteke. Here's Cleverley. And Zogbia. Alan Hutton trying to get forward as well to join in, and Zogbia is going to try one himself. And the ricochet takes it here to Christian Benteke, who eventually found himself surrounded by yellow and blue shirted Arsenal defenders, and it's back with Szczesny. But to emphasise the importance of him in the Aston Villa side, Michael, he's got more goals on his own than the other 9 outfield starters have combined for Aston Villa today.
Yeah, but they set up for him, don't they, to Aston Villa? I think Tim Sherwood came in, realised he had a real diamond in the centre-forward position, and they really do play to his strengths. They get the ball, they knock it in quick, everything goes through Benteke. Such an important piece of their jigsaw.
Here's Coquelin, who had 5 games on loan at Charlton before Christmas, never scored for Arsenal. Arsene Wenger was saying in the build-up this week that he's had the impact of a £40 million signing in central midfield. He's been that important to Arsenal this season. He's almost the first name on the team sheet when he puts them down. Ozil wins it back from Fabian Delph and then glides away from Cleverley. They've got men over here, Arsenal. Ozil plays it through towards Walcott. Falls instead for Ramsey, who won the cup a season ago but couldn't hit the target there.
Well, it's just brilliant play from Ozil. I think he does a little nutmegs in the lead up to that. It was not a bad ball into the box. Couple of little ricochets, but again you see Ramsey. We've seen many times players like Frank Lampard, those midfield players that bomb into the box late. There's 2 chances he's had, 2 half chances maybe. He's getting in the positions all right.
It's all coming from a frustrated Fabian Delph, giving the ball away cheaply, trying too hard, trying to have an influence on the game, give the ball away. Ozil nicked it, should have scored Ramsey.
Here's Hutton. Aston Villa are looking to do something that doesn't happen very often. The last team to win the Cup after losing multiple games in succession at the end of the season were Portsmouth, who lost their last 4 before beating Cardiff City in the final. Villa have lost their last 2. And of course they've been no strangers to summoning up performances during the course of the season, particularly towards the end of it, to keep their status in the Barclays Premier League. 0-0. And here's Kieran Richardson for Aston Villa. Now Delph, the captain. Hutton's making that run forward again down the Aston Villa right. He's tried to do that quite a lot in this first half. There's Benteke deep, far too deep, I'm sure, for where Tim Sherwood would like to see it. Now Grealish. Ashley Westwood. And Benteke the target again. The flag goes up against the Belgian, but play on from John Moss because Arsenal have it. They've got it with Alexis Sanchez, but that's a really well-timed challenge by Delph to snuff out the latest Arsenal attack.
Yeah, I think Delph, as Robbie says, a couple of sloppy parts of his game, but he never shrinks, does he, in games? He's always there. Captain's armband on. He does lead by example. Fantastic tackle there because John Moss had given a good advantage and Arsenal were on the break.
Here's Grealish, slightly more central this time. Grealish, who has played at the tip of the Aston Villa diamond to great effect this season. He has started off, though, in the main in this match, out on the left-hand side, which is starting with possession. Played through then towards Walcott. Ozil was the provider. And an important challenge there came in from Ron Vlaar because he's got so much pace, Walcott. If he gets off the shoulder, then he's a hard man to deal with.
What we're finding, Darren, because Grealish, Cleverly and Delph aren't getting much of the ball, they're all going inside and they're getting in each other's way. I think that's the difference. They're getting frustrated. Just stay in your positions.
Divided loyalties for him today. Has he got the FA hat on or the Aston Villa hat on? It's hard on a day like this not to be pulling for your team. Here's Jack Grealish, who's certainly living the dream that many an Aston Villa supporter would like to emulate. Good skill from Coquelin. Now Walcott. Ozil's on the move through the middle. Nothing much really that way for Theo Walcott. He's got Ashley Westwood snapping at his heels as well. Now Monreal. Ozil. Westwood quickly on the scene again, but that was really neatly done by the German. Here's Alexis Sanchez. He's got 2 to pick out in the middle if he needs them. Hutton with the block. And then Ron Vlaar with time to head it away, although not very far. Returned by Ramsey, and then away by Yoris Akore, who's another one of these Aston Villa players who had a slight problem in the build-up to the final, a slight knee problem, but he's OK to start today as well. Santi Cazorla. Now Nacho Monreal. Mesut Ozil. Cazorla. Arsenal looking to weave those patterns. Monreal, Cazorla. Little ball in towards Mesut Ozil, is looking to pick someone out. Theo Walcott, what a block by Kieran Richardson. Fantastic defending by the Aston Villa full-back. Brilliant approach play initially by Arsenal, but that was such an important challenge by Richardson.
Wow, that's what you call a block. Fabulous block from Richardson. Brilliant play from Arsenal. This is what they're all about, this neat one-touch play. They don't want to lump balls in high for someone's head. They like passing it, a little cutback. It's a huge chance for Theo Walcott, but really in that position, I don't think he's done much wrong. He's hit the target, and Richardson, well, it's a flying block.
He's got to score that, Michael, surely. He's got to put the ball in the back of the net.
Here's Hector Bellerin for Arsenal, who will continue to apply the pressure. Now Ramsey, and the challenge this time made by Ron Vlaar. It's one of those challenges, though, isn't it, from Richardson, that's almost as valuable as a goal.
Well, a lot of the time as a centre-forward, you're watching the ball coming from that left-hand side. You don't see what's behind you. He's the left-back, Richardson, so You're just concentrating on beating the goalkeeper, getting it on target, and he did everything right. As I say, Theo Walcott, he wouldn't have seen Richardson until the ball actually hits him.
Magnificent block, but I still think he's got to score, Michael.
Cazorla just caught there by Westwood.
Sure you would have, Robbie.
You definitely would have.
I think he was going to ask it until you answered it, so I'm glad you did. Here's Ozil. Pressure starting to mount from the cup holders. Hector Bellerin. This time another block from Kieran Richardson, but they've got to ride out this little storm, haven't they now, Tim Sherwood's team?
Yeah, defending very, very well. If they can get to half-time, I'm sure they'll be happy.
Here's Bellerin. Of course, they've not got the aerial presence of Giroud to pick out when they come forward today. He's on the Arsenal bench. But they can weave their patterns, although Walcott this time offside. It was fantastic vision, though, wasn't it, by Ozil to spot his run?
Yeah, he started the game really well, finding lovely little angles, lovely little shapes, lovely balls through. And this is what Arsenal are about. Real passing game, one-touch stuff on the edge of the box. It was only Walcott, actually, that was offside. If he'd left it to Ramsey, they might have been in there, but brilliant play. They're starting to really probe now, aren't they, as we see the chance again. The ball's high and bouncing. He strikes it so well, very difficult to do anything but what he's done. It's just a brilliant. Sometimes you've got to tip your cap, and I'm doing that certainly to Kieran Richardson.
It's a real lesson, though, Robbie, wasn't it, to any young defender not to stop running. He covered a lot of ground to get there to make the block. Whether you think he should have scored or not, he was still there to block it, wasn't he?
Yeah, because Vlaar had to go to the centre forward and Richard had to cover round, threw himself, saved the goal. Great defending, but Walcott should score.
Best spell of the game, though, for Aston. 0-0. There's Richardson coming forward now. We've seen his value as a defender. And Ramsey, though, there this time to snuff him out. Here's Coquelin. Cazorla made to stretch, but he was able to get there and then effortlessly played forward by Mesut Ozil to Theo Walcott. Now Aaron Ramsey. And Ramsey's gone for goal from the angle. And I think the slight deflection off Vlaar just took the sting off that. He was comfortable in the end, forgiven.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether he had the shot in the end. It certainly deflected, and I think he might have been trying to pull that back. Hard to tell from that angle, but again, it's a penetrating run from Ramsey, and Arsenal just start to crank up the pressure, crank up the quality. Aston Villa have got to break the tone of this game in some way.
Well, there's a bit of breathing space maybe for Walcott, snuffed out importantly by Akore. Now Fabian Delph for Aston Villa. Grealish. Westwood. And Zogbia this time had to come all the way over to the other side to get involved. You could almost see the reluctance from an Aston Villa standpoint to commit too many bodies forward because of how fluid Arsenal have been when they go the other way.
You know, if you're a centre forward, Michael, Walcott, Villa playing a high line, why would you shorter feet? You want to get in behind all the time, surely, don't you?
Yeah, it's a fair point, but a lot of the time as a centre forward, even when you've got pace, you like to run in behind. But once you come off and show once or twice, you then get the defender coming up behind you, and then all of a sudden on the third, fourth one maybe, then you spin and then you get even more space. So it's almost a cat and mouse game as a centre forward. When you're looking to get into a certain area, you almost pretend you want the other area.
Little pullback this time from Delph. And just a word from John Moss.
Again, that has to be a yellow card. It's pulled him back. Stop play. I think he's got away with that one. Fabian Delph.
Koscielny with the free kick, which picks out Nacho Monreal. Here's Alexis Sanchez, who's had such a fantastic first season in English football. Now Aaron Ramsey gets some support from Bellerin, and He's alone now and he can pick out the cross, defended by Vla. And then Delph has to stand his ground, and that might just have jumped up and caught the arm of Aaron Ramsey. John Moss was in a position to spot that, and he gives the free kick Aston Villa's way.
Well, I'm not sure about that. It does flick up and hits the arm of Ramsey, but certainly, I mean, the quote is that it's got to be intentional. If you're saying that's intentional, then, well, I'm watching a different game.
It's amazing what you can get away with, isn't it, on Cup Final Saturday. Ramsey was looking for handball to go his way this time, which John Moss doesn't give. Here's Fabian Delph, and now Jack Grealish. Cleverley's made a run forward. Here is Tom Cleverley. Nowhere near as many options for the Aston Villa player in possession as there are when Arsenal have got the ball. Nicely done though by Delph, and it goes towards Benteke. Szczesny commits himself again, Cleverley wins the header. And Ramsey's going to try and allow it to run out. And in the end he gets a bit of help from Hector Bellerin, and Arsenal should be able to clear.
Yeah, again, it's positive goalkeeping, isn't it, from Szczesny? And OK, he may not have got a clean punch on it, but I really like his aggression towards the ball, because you tried to go one-on-one against Benteke when the ball's coming in, and you got no chance. You know, and he's running and jumping against you. And there's only one winner there, but he keeps coming out and keeps being positive. And his back four know he's going to do that. You can always work around it.
Of course, a win today for Aston Villa, and they'll be in the Europa League at the expense of Southampton next season. Arsenal already in the Champions League, and the great news is that from next season, BT Sport will be the only place to watch the Champions League and Europa League live from August 2015. And for the next 3 seasons, all of the Champions League and Europa League will be exclusive to BT Sport. We're very much looking forward to that.
On that Tom Cleverley header there, we always wanted a Graham Sharp moment from the cup final when he headed from the edge of the box and Grobbelaar tipped it over.
It's almost the Andy Gray scenario, wasn't it? Everton against Watford when he went into Steve Sherwood, the goalkeeper.
On BT Sport, you know, build up to this, we've seen great FA Cup finals all week on BT Sport.
Here's Mesut Özil for Arsenal. And a clumsy challenge there from Hutton on Alexis Sanchez, and that, I'm sure, is going to be the second yellow card shown by John Moss today.
Well, I think they're quite lucky that there's only been 2 shown so far. Potentially could have been 4, and I think Arsenal players, they normally run around the referee to try to get their man booked, but they didn't have to there. That was a certain booking.
Robbie's talking about those matches we've been showing on BT Sport in the build-up to the Cup Final this week. Those challenges were OK, weren't they, in the 80s? They were getting away with those all the time.
Yeah, he's got to be careful now. Hutton, yellow card. Going to have Sanchez running him. Got to be very, very careful now.
So a free kick for Arsenal, which is delivered in, comes off Alan Hutton. There's a bit of time here for Ramsey, and a block by Richardson brings the corner.
Well, he's had some touches, hasn't he, Aaron Ramsey, in the opponent's 18-yard box. You can't keep leaving him space, because he can punish you eventually.
Richardson's been important defensively, hasn't he, as well? He's missed the last 2 matches for Villa with a calf problem, but he's been important so far today. In goes the latest Arsenal corner. Given didn't quite get there, and he was happy to see Ron Vlaar around to clear it away.
Well, he doesn't really like coming for crosses, I don't feel. Shay Given, he's not the tallest of goalkeepers, and when he's got to reach over players, then it can be quite difficult.
Not the oldest goalkeeper to play in an FA Cup final, Shay Given. Both David James and David Seaman were older than he was. And they've all got some to beat Billy Hampson, who was the oldest ever player in an FA Cup final at 41, but still is a real achievement for Shay Given to come in from the cold, win the place back from Brad Guzan, and start for Aston Villa today. And he's made that one exceptional save early in this match, which keeps it at 0-0. Here's Charles Nzogbia, rare space for him to move into. Quickly back though defensively was Monreal, and then Coquelin, as he has done all season, getting the job done in midfield. Sent long then towards Theo Walcott. Given might well have had time to catch that, but he elects to head it instead. Here's Fabian Delph, just a little bit of space. Maybe the game just starting to open up a little bit. Grealish. Richardson motoring forward as well. Now Delph. Ashley Westwood. Now Kieran Richardson. Only really Benteke to pick out. His touch is towards Jack Grealish. And away by Lauren Koscielny. And Arsenal will be awarded the free kick. And Santi Cazorla it is who's gone down. He looks in a bit of pain as well, doesn't he, Santi Cazorla?
It didn't seem to me as if there was much in that. And the ball's just dropping down, he's gone, and it's coming together. He's probably winded himself as he hit the deck, but as you see, Ashley Westwood didn't really think much of it.
I just think when Villa break, Darren, they've got to break with pace, with numbers. You know, they break well down that right-hand side, but then they come back and it's slow. They've got to break with pace when Arsenal aren't set.
I think it's worth pointing out as well, bearing in mind it's 0-0, 36 minutes gone, and Arsenal have had chances. The last 10 FA Cup finals have been decided by 1 goal or less. You've got to go back to Manchester United's win against Millwall in 2004 for the last time that there was real daylight between two clubs, and Arsenal have made a habit, haven't they, of going to extra time here at Wembley. Their last 3 games here at Wembley have been decided in extra time. Wigan in the semi-final last season, the final against Hull, and of course this season's semi-final against Reading. And good to see Deadly Doug here today as well, the former Aston Villa chairman Doug Ellis, who's in the Royal Box here at Wembley.
John
Moss now for Delph.
Yeah, given a yellow card. It's got to be from accumulation of the one before, because he was on thin ice before, and 2 tugs of the shirt equals 1 yellow card from John Moss.
Yeah, Randy Lerner wasn't happy in the box up there, Darren, waving his arm at it, but Delph, you know, 3 now Aston Villa players on yellow cards. Got to be so careful.
Alan Hutton and Tom Cleverley, the other 2, who joined Fabian Delph in John Moss's notebook. Coquelin sends it forward towards Alexis Sanchez. It's a long way to get around Ron Vlaar. Up it goes towards Benteke, a little touch towards Delph. Bellerina live to the situation for Arsenal.
They've had a little switch of formation. Walcott's gone to that left-hand side, I think, to run at Hutton. Sanchez in the centre-forward position.
Here's Santi Cazorla. Now Coquelin. It's interesting, Michael, isn't it, that we accept that the pace of Sadio Mane was a real problem for Villa when they lost emphatically at Southampton, but also the physical presence of Graziano Pella led to a lot of the problems that Villa found that day. Here's Nacho Monreal. In it goes towards Alexis Sanchez, but of course without that physical threat of Olivier Giroud in the middle, they've got to be very precise from those situations.
Well, yeah, if you've got best of both worlds, one big lad and one smaller one that's pretty quick, then you give them 2 sets of problems. Obviously, Arsenal have just got the pace of Walcott to try to hurt Aston Villa today. You'd have to think, wouldn't you, that Giroud's going to have some part to play in this final today.
Especially with the amount of balls gone across the box. Giroud loves getting to that near post. I expect to see Giroud before the end of the game.
Fantastically colourful scenes here at Wembley Stadium on FA Cup final day. Perfect conditions as well. A little bit of cloud in the sky, but hardly a breath of wind, and the pitch, as always these days, in tip-top condition for the showpiece event at the end of a season that's had so many storylines to it. And you wonder what the final chapter is that's got to be written during the course of this match here today.
If Aston Villa can get to half-time, Dan, I think they'll be very happy, because 7 of the last 8 defeats Arsenal have suffered, they haven't scored before half-time. So if Aston Villa can get to half-time, they feel like they can win this game.
Coquelin finds Walcott in a bit of space, and he's got Nacho Monreal breaking a neck to get forward and join in as well. Here is Monreal. Can he pick someone out? And it goes towards Alexis Sanchez, and it will fall here for Walcott! Hat-trick on the final day of the season, and he scores the opening goal of the cup final for Arsenal.
strikers in form, that's what it's all about, and I can't tell you how well Theo Walcott did to keep this ball down on his weak foot. And the ball is just bouncing in a real awkward position. He gets his leg up, gets his knee over the ball and thumps it past Shay Given. It's a fabulous goal. Confidence running through his veins from a hat-trick last week. It's a thumping finish, as I say, from Theo Walcott.
Well, it justifies Arsene Wenger's selection. That's only his 9th touch of the first half, and it's the most important one of the game.
Definite onside there, but Walcott, the change of position to that left-hand side enables him to be in that position. I think if he's in the centre-forward position, he doesn't score that goal. He's come from the left-hand side. Look where he ends up, buries it with his left foot.
Yeah, and it's Alexis Sanchez as well, isn't he? Probably the smallest man on the pitch. Fabulous in the air, scored plenty of headers himself. And it's him jumping at the back post as we see the finish again. I love the way he keeps that down. 9 out of 10 you see ballooning into the fans. Brilliant finish on his weaker foot.
Well, Theo Walcott had that long time out with the knee ligament injury that he sustained in the FA Cup last season against Spurs, missed 10 months. And chances have been few and far between in the Arsenal side since coming back to full fitness, but having been given a nod by Arsene Wenger over Olivier Giroud for the final, he showed his manager that he's made the right decision.
Yeah, and you have to say they've deserved it, don't you? Arsenal have been certainly the better team. The longer the game's gone on, the more and more they've come into it. I wouldn't have said you'd be expecting a goal to come from a high ball into the box that's nodded down, but that's what's come, and they certainly have deserved their lead.
You can see the goal. Shay Given is screaming on a Corey to get out, to get out. He turns his back, and it's Hudson who dives out, couldn't get the block on. Just watch Shay Given shout Corey here. He's saying, get up, throw yourself at it. He doesn't. Into the near post, Walcott, man in form, as Michael says.
Arsenal 1, Aston Villa 0. What will the response be from Tim Sherwood's side, who haven't tested Wojciech Szczesny as yet in this game? Now, they might get an opportunity here because there was a bit of a miscommunication between Bellerin and Koscielny, which Arsenal get away with at the expense of a throw-in. Here's Kieran Richardson. In it goes towards Christian Benteke. Gets up highest but can't find claret and blue. And Arsenal, with men around the ball, able to get it away.
Yeah, I keep watching Szczesny. Every time a full-back pulls his leg back to actually cross it, Szczesny sprints to outside the 6-yard box, just in case he has to come and collect the ball. That's certainly something that they've spoken about on the training ground. Anything that's going to be floated onto Benteke's head, Szczesny is sprinting out of his box to come and save.
Here's Theo Walcott, who's feeling 10 feet tall, and he's on the move again, and he's threatening once more, and Richardson, the defender, to shut the door, and Arsenal get the corner.
Yeah, you cannot concede another goal before half-time again. Little slide pass from Ramsey. Richardson with a last gasp tackle. Fantastic covering again from the fullback.
He's just tried to dink it over his leg, hasn't he? And if it had just popped over, you're looking at a penalty there.
The German World Cup winner Mesut Ozil out to take this in-swinging Arsenal corner, which is away by Benteke with the chest, which is a strange way to do it. Grealish completes the job, and then Bellerin sends it forward. So Arsenal leading 1-0. We've got plenty for you coming up on BT Sport. England against Mexico in the Toulon tournament Wednesday, 6 o'clock. England beat Ivory Coast 2-0 earlier today. 2-1 in fact it was earlier this afternoon. And the UEFA Under-21 Championship starts on the 17th of June on BT Sport 1. We're going to be showing exclusive coverage of all 15 matches from this summer's tournament, following Gareth Southgate's England team with Harry Kane, etc. And of course we wish them well. Might this be the summer where England's youngsters win a tournament? They've certainly got an opportunity. Arsenal at the moment edging towards retaining the FA Cup. Nacho Monreal delivers the cross, Theo Walcott the target, and Kieran Richardson gets it away, and then finds himself with more work to do because Mesut Ozil, with that wonderful balance, able to just hold him off and then play it infield to Ramsey. And they're purring a little bit now, Arsenal, aren't they? Extra confidence from the goal. Ozil into Cazorla, and determined defending from Cleverley. Arsenal get the corner though.
Yeah, he's pulling the strings, isn't he, Ozil? When he gets the ball, you think something's going to happen, and then it's a rebound effect in many ways. As soon as he gets the ball, people know that he's got great vision. They start making runs off him. It makes it easier for the man on the ball. Arsenal running Villa ragged at the moment.
Up come the big men, Mertesacker and Koscielny. 2 additional minutes at the end of the first half. A little bit of frustration maybe from Christian Benteke, who's become more and more isolated the longer the first half's gone on. Flatter this time from Ozil, away by Westwood.
I think I'd like to see Bonlahon at half-time, Darren. Taking Zogbia off, put Bonlahon to the left-hand side to give Richardson some help, and he got the pace to go forward. Put Grealish onto that right-hand side. You've got nothing to lose now.
It was one of the decisions, wasn't it, pre-match, that Tim Sherwood had to decide upon whether to go with Agbonlahor and Zogbia. And Zogbia gets the start, but there is the local boy, Gabi Agbonlahor. Helped on by Ozil. Walcott couldn't control it this time. Yoris Akore away for Aston Villa. There's Santi Cazorla. So much more space when the Arsenal fullbacks receive it. This time it was Nacho Monreal, and then Alexis Sanchez stopped in his tracks by Westwood. There's Coquelin. Now Bellerin, and there's all kinds of room here for Mesut Ozil as Arsenal move it from left side to right side. Now Ozil can glide forward. Well, there's a rare chance for Delpho to bring it the other way. Infield it goes towards Grealish, who was met straight away by Koscielny and tidied up by the experienced Mertesacker. Given away though by Nacho Monreal. But that will bring an end to a first half that Arsenal dominated in terms of possession and chances. And they have the all-important goal scored by Theo Walcott, who got a hat-trick on the final day against West Brom. Was given the nod by Arsene Wenger today. And he gives Arsenal the half-time lead in the cup final. All the analysis to come from Jake and the team. It's Arsenal 1, Aston Villa 0. Last year, but before that, you've got to go back to the Steven Gerrard final of 2006 in Cardiff to find the last time a team came from behind at half-time to lift the FA Cup. And Arsenal, with that Theo Walcott goal, have the lead. No changes made by either manager at half-time, but it wouldn't surprise you, Michael, if Tim Sherwood is the first to pull the trigger if Aston Villa don't settle into a rhythm quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I think Robbie mentioned at the end of the first half that the likelihood is that fella Agbonlahor coming on for Zogbia, but I didn't think he'd make any changes at half-time. Normally managers, unless there's a real crisis, give it 5 or 10 minutes into the second half. I certainly expect to see Agbonlahor come on.
There's Aaron Ramsey, and now Hector Bellerin, who found 1 or 2 decent positions moving forward down the Arsenal right in the first half. Now Alexis Sanchez, whose aerial presence, which we don't often say in the Aston Villa box, was a key feature in the Walcott goal. Here's Tom Cleverley for Aston Villa. Now Christian Benteke, who's moving into all kinds of areas to try and get involved in the match.
Well, exactly, you've called that. He's trying to come deep. I'd bring Sinclair and Agbonlahor, take Grealish and Zogbia off. They need an outlet, they need pace. Bring them 2 on.
Here's Mesut Ozil, of course. The next goal in this cup final will be so important. It's a long way back for Aston Villa if Arsenal make it 2-0. Here's Santi Cazorla. Now Aaron Ramsey. Only Walcott the target in the middle, really. Sanchez has gone in there as well, and in the end he was seemingly caught in 2 minds, wasn't he, Aaron Ramsey?
Yeah, he was, but there was very little in the box that's on for him. We're just going to have a look here. In the first half, this is the goal. I know Tim Sherwood wasn't happy, thinking there was a bit of a push there. I'm not sure at all. I think you're clutching at straws if you think that was a foul. I think Sanchez leaps high. OK, there's a bit of a touch on the back, but it's a contact sport. I don't think that's a foul at all.
I think Tim Sherwood said, any chance you can win an header against Alexis Sanchez in my 6-yard box?
Arsenal bidding to become the first team to retain the cup since Chelsea in 2010. If Aston Villa can come back in the second half and win it, then Tim Sherwood would emulate Roberto Di Matteo as a manager who arrived in mid-season and went on to win the cup that year. Here's Jack Grealish. And there isn't Ogbia and Benteke to pick out with the right kind of cross. Delph's wasn't. And it's away by Bellerin for Arsenal. The flag was up anyway. And eventually the play brought back and a free kick given to Arsene Wenger's side. Now, we did see, Michael, didn't we, that even in that defeat against Southampton, the right kind of ball for Christian Benteke, and he'll get you a goal. He's got such presence in the air, but they've just not got it in quickly enough to him, have they?
No, they haven't. They've not got in areas to get it in quickly enough to him. Arsenal have the majority of the play. We saw the stats. You know, loads of possession in the first half, so you know, they've got to get their fair share of the ball because they're not going to score without it. Got to get the ball into wide areas and start whipping the ball in for their main threat.
He's the manager with the problem to solve. There's an opportunity for the right fullback Alan Hutton to make his way forward. In it goes this time early towards Benteke. Delph it was who got his head to it. And then Grealish does well against Hector Bellerin, and he's showing his strength, the teenager. Help arrives in the shape of Cazorla. And then Delph loses control of things and Aaron Ramsey can bring it away. It's been the story of Villa's match so far, that even when they do get into the Arsenal penalty area, they find it difficult to make something happen for them.
I bet Aston Villa fans screaming at the TV, go down to Jack Grealish there. There was a challenge, came in.
There's Walcott. And Vlaar with the tackle. Now Alexis Sanchez. Support arriving from Nacho Monreal, but he's got the ability to turn around! It's an absolute screamer! Alexis Sanchez, what a goal!
What a strike from Sanchez. I was just admiring the little overlap from Monreal, and then he hits it, and I think, well, forget about that. What a strike. It had all kinds of movement. Shay Given went left, he went right. As I mentioned, Monreal makes a lovely little run, just takes away Alan Hutton, and that leaves a space for Sanchez, who hits it. Wow, well, he's got a rocket in his boot. That goes all kinds of ways, in off the bar. What a phenomenal strike.
The movement on the ball, the way he hits across it. Shay Given goes one way, puts his left arm in the air, he cannot stop it. Brilliant technique. That emulates Roberto Di Matteo's goal for Chelsea many years ago.
Well, it gives him 20 on the season. He's been Arsenal's best player this season. And he's been a player who's scored important goals and special goals, and that one fits into both categories for the Chilean Alexis Sanchez. And Arsenal doubled their lead, and that hill that looked steep for Aston Villa at half-time has just got significantly steeper. Arsenal looking to turn the screw. Sanchez leading the charge. Walcott looking to ghost in behind Vlaar, who was able to make the challenge. They're rocking here a little bit now, Aston Villa. Nacho Monreal on Mesut Ozil. Ramsey. And Sanchez again. Aston Villa are going to make the change. They're going to send on Gabby Agbonlahor for Charles Nsogbia, as Alexis Sanchez is caught off the ball. And it's a yellow card for Ashley Westwood.
Yeah, you can see he brings him down. It's a good decision from John Moss. Waits to see if there's any advantage to be played, brings it back, issues the yellow card to Westwood. It's just a question of whether Aston Villa make this substitution now before the free kick or not. They've got to do something. Yeah, they're going to do it.
Yeah, said it before. Nsogbia going off, the pace of Agbonlahor. They need something now, and they need his pace to get forward in support of Benteke. But Aston Villa, the boys were saying half-time, midfield area, they can't cope with the 1-2s, the movement, the quickness of play. This could be 4 or 5. Andy Townsend said it could be 6.
Well, he sent on his longest-serving player, Gabby Agbonlahor, a local boy who's come through the academy who bleeds claret and blue. Is he the player who can provide a spark and a potential lifeline for Aston Villa? But they've got more defending to do here. Cazorla delivers the free kick, which this time Aston Villa can deal with and get away towards Agbonlahor. Coquelin to Ozil. Sanchez is there as well. Sanchez on the move, opens up the space, and it goes towards Cazorla. Back to Alexis Sanchez. Great skill from the Chilean, and then Alan Hutton had to show some determination not to give that up and concede the corner.
Yeah, they're absolutely on fire at Arsenal. It's men against boys at the moment. They're passing them off the park. Alexis, Sanchez, Cazorla, Ramsey, Ozil, all passing Villa off the park.
Ozil out to take the corner. Koscielny's on the move in the middle, and it's away by Benteke. This is one of the positions that Agbonlahor can maybe threaten the Arsenal defenders, because he's one of the best, isn't he, Robbie, on the counter-attack with that pace that he's got when he plays off the shoulder.
But the midfield players need to get on the ball. They need time. They don't have time. This is a strike from Sanchez. The movement on the ball. You know, as Michael said in commentary, Monreal, great little overlap. That took the defender away, but Shea given no chance.
He'd gone 4 games without a goal, Alexis Sanchez. That's an emphatic way to get yourself back amongst them for Arsenal. Here's Richardson for Aston Villa. Now Fabian Delph. Richardson to swing it in towards Jack Grealish and Agbonlahor, and this time Szczesny didn't really get there enough. Christian Benteke. Ashley Westwood, and too close to the Arsenal goalkeeper Wojciech Szczesny in the end, which is symptomatic really, Michael, of everything we've seen in the final third from Aston Villa so far today.
Yeah, they normally just get the ball out wide and whip it in straight away, but full credit to Arsenal. They know that that's where their strength lies, and they're preventing the cross coming in at the earliest opportunity. They rush the cross in there, Aston Villa, and, well, it doesn't come in with the quality that they need. Well, Arsenal really are stopping them at source.
In this formation, the full-backs have got to provide the width and the cross into the box. Sanchez is pushing Hutton back, Ozil and Ramsey are pushing Richardson back. They can't get forward, therefore no crosses coming into the box.
There's Alexis Sanchez, who's really enjoying himself now. Santi Cazorla. Arsenal coming forward effortlessly again. Aaron Ramsey, and it goes towards Walcott. Flag was up. It was a fantastic save by Given, and the follow-up from Sanchez won't count. The flag will deny that. But as reflex saves go, that was a heck of a stop from Given.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It's great play again from Arsenal. You know, getting the ball into wide areas. You know, I blame Theo Walcott here, though. I think he's got to make more of a run, a horizontal run, almost in front of Akore, and then dart through the gap between him and Vlaar. He almost runs into an offside position when he can see all the play in front of him, as you mentioned. It didn't matter in the end, but what a save from Given.
I'll tell you what, Michael, he should have stuck the ball in the back of the net again there.
We've been watching his Peter Schmeichel videos, hasn't he? On the coach coming in, Shea Given with that kind of save. Here's a chance maybe for Villa, and it went towards Christian Benteke, who couldn't quite get on the end of it this time. Now Alan Hutton sends it back in again. Benteke waiting once more. Mertesacker away. And then a combination of Mesut Ozil and Aaron Ramsey get the ball to the man who's got that brilliant second goal here today, Alexis Sanchez. Here's cleverly, easily dispossessed by Coquelin, who again has been very, very effective in the centre of the Arsenal midfield.
Yeah, hasn't he just? Robbie would have played that position himself, but he's set off most of these moves. He's broken down any form of play for Aston Villa. Unsung hero today so far.
There's Ramsey, Akore's in there for Villa, so is Hutton. Ramsey still gets the shot away, blocked by Alan Hutton. Now Alexis Sanchez, Ramsey, Cazorla's made a run and they've not really spotted him here, the Villa defenders. Here is Santi Cazorla, great balance to turn. Now Bellerin, back it goes to Santi Cazorla, looking to pick his spot, and Shea Given denies Arsenal again.
He's been Aston Villa's best player, Shea Given, the initial.
Wide open now. Here comes Cleverly. Crossed in towards Benteke. And this time the header won inside his own penalty area by Mertesacker. But you could see the problem there, Michael, perfectly illustrated. Cleverly had to stop, look for Benteke and cross it. And that was really all that Aston Villa had.
Yeah, and Benteke, as much as he can beat most people with a running jump, I think he's got to start pulling on a fullback, or maybe even Koscielny. No point standing by Mertesacker. If he's good at one thing, it's heading the ball, and he's a good few inches taller than Benteke, so he needs to start pulling on to different people.
The yellow and blue come flooding forward again. Mesut Ozil to Alexis Sanchez. And the challenge in from Westwood brings a throw in to Arsene Wenger's side, who at the moment, Robbie, are having their way with Aston Villa.
Yeah, Shea given magnificent form. I would just say when that ball come to Cazorla initially, I thought he should have volleyed it, but there, slight deflection. But at 39 years of age, great agility, gets down well, being Aston Villa's best player today. And this is the handball before it hits something on the arm. You give a free kick to Arsenal, one to Arsenal in the first half, which wasn't. Yeah, that there.
I don't think that was either, to be honest. But as you say, Robbie, he did give a free kick against
Ramsey, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
You've got to be consistent with them. You give one, you've got to give the other.
There's Monreal. Cleverly was defending and didn't commit the foul. Aston Villa can bring it away with their captain Fabian Delph, but they won't get very far. Coquelin intercepts it for Arsenal. And down the line it goes to Alexis Sanchez, but the ball had just spun out of play.
Coquelin again there, Darren just breaking up the play. In fact, it was an interception, reading the game so well. I mentioned being an unsung hero, worth a weight in gold, those people that can just break up the play and then give it to the special players in front of them.
Still only 24, and the Frenchman Francis Coquelin, who started 19 of Arsenal's last 20 matches, and if you were to try and buy him on the open market now, he'd cost you a pretty penny, wouldn't he, the form he's been in for Arsenal in all competitions this season. Here's Agbonlahor. He's got a bit of space because Bellerin had gone down off the ball. Ashley Westwood. Can Aston Villa conjure something up this time? Tom Cleverly. Westwood again. Arsenal have been able to get bodies back in defence. Delph to Cleverly. And then through towards Alan Hutton. Didn't get there because it was intercepted by Delph. And in the end, Aston Villa forced all the way back to the halfway line by the determination of Arsenal at the back. Here's Benteke, down towards Grealish, away by Mertesacker, and then Coquelin can set Arsenal on their way once more. Ozil through to the pace of Walcott, who's too quick for Akore. Walcott's in here for Arsenal. Akore did really well to recover and get some sort of block on that.
Yeah, it's a good run, isn't it? From Walcott, that's why he's in the team. Picked out nicely as well. He did everything right. Snuffed out in the end, though.
There's more space out wide for young Hector Bellerin. Tim Sherwood trying to urge on his team, knowing that they've got to score the next goal in this match. Sanchez. Cazorla. Now Bellerin. Ramsey over there with him. Ramsey takes over. Takes on Richardson. And wins the corner.
The game's so stretched now. Walcott, eyes light up every time the ball goes to a midfield player, just runs in behind Akore, recovered well. But as a centre forward, Michael, now playing this game, you must fancy your chance to get another goal.
Well, we were thinking, weren't we, that somebody like Giroud would be coming on in this second half, but, well, they're getting in so many times, they're playing so well at Arsenal, then you wouldn't touch it, would you, if you were Arsene Wenger at the moment?
And it goes from Santi Cazorla in towards Mertesacker, and Mertesacker has surely now won the FA Cup for Arsenal.
Well, of all the ways that you'd think Arsenal would score a goal, set pieces isn't really one that I'd spring to mind straight away. I'm pretty sure this came off Mertesacker's shoulder in the end, just the way the ball almost dribbled into the goal. It wasn't headed in with any great pace, as we see two sad faces in the crowd, but, well, I think you'd have to say that's game, set and match, maybe off his ear, maybe off his shoulder. I didn't think this was a clean header. Yeah, definitely off his shoulder from Mertesacker. And when you looks in, you looks in.
It's a great ball in. If the goal's not going in, Koscielny should get a penalty. Vlaar was pulling his shirt over his head. But as Michael says, unmarked, Benteke lost his man. Off Mertesacker's shoulder.
Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 0, and Per Mertesacker, who won the World Cup at the end of last season, is in line to win the FA Cup and potentially lift the FA Cup as the Arsenal captain today. At the end of this one, surely no way back for Aston Villa from 3-0 down, Michael.
No, and not the way they're playing at the moment. Arsenal are rampant, really are in control of this game. And I think Aston Villa, they're just happy if it stayed like this actually, because this could get embarrassing if it continues in this way.
It's going to be an Aston Villa free kick, fouled by Nacho Monreal and Alan Hutton. Those sad faces you saw in the crowd are actually in the Royal box. It's a lot more comfortable over there where those sad faces are.
Tim Sher was not happy there. Happy at all. Team conceded 3 goals, been very poor today. The game's passed most of his players by. Shay Given, I think the only one today in the Aston Villa side who can hold his head up high.
Is there some kind of consolation for Aston Villa here? Fabian Delph over the free kick. There's Ron Vlaar and Yoris Akore in there. Benteke's in there too. And it was an Aston Villa head originally. It was Vlaar who got the first touch, and then Chesney, who's been positive right the way through the match. Positive again to claim that for Arsenal.
Yeah, not easy. You're catching those when there's plenty of bodies around. He wasn't put under as much pressure as potentially he should have been there from Aston Villa players, but he has been good. Not caught everything, but he's been very positive. And when you know what your goalkeeper's going to do, it doesn't half make a difference.
There's Grealish, who's not really had many opportunities to get on the ball and try and make things happen for Aston Villa today. Richardson. Fabian Delph hoists it in towards Christian Benteke, which has been the only real route to goal for Aston Villa throughout this FA Cup final. There's another cross, a boomer this time from Hutton. And away by Hector Bellerin. I call that a boomer, Robbie.
A boomer, Darren, it was certainly a boomer. Michael, what's it like in a cup final? You know, when you know you're going to win. Have you been in any cup finals when there's like 20 minutes to go and you're thinking, we've won this game?
Well, you never think it until the fat lady sings, as they say. But yeah, I mean, Arsenal players now at 3-0, have never been in this position, maybe 2 goals ahead, but 3-0 up. It'll become exhibition stuff, won't it? And I would have thought Arsene Wenger might now start thinking about bringing his, well, certainly his 3 subs available to him on over the course of this next 25 minutes, just to give as many people a great experience as they can. Now the game's virtually wrapped up.
Well, there's no singing at the moment, but there must be a fair bit of warming up going on behind the scenes. 65 minutes gone, Arsenal 3, Aston Villa 0. Here's Grealish. Up it goes towards Agbonlahor, and then Alan Hutton. Benteke waits for a cross again in the middle. Hutton's going to have a go himself this time. Gives it to Cleverley, and then back to where he thought that Hutton might be, but a little bit too much on the ball, and it's through to Wojciech Szczesny in the Arsenal goal. So coming up on BT Sport later on today, we've got Dortmund against Wolfsburg, the German Cup final, 6:45. Jurgen Klopp looking to sign off at Dortmund with a trophy. And then tomorrow, BT Sport 1, Motherwell against Rangers, playing for a place in the top division in Scotland next season. Motherwell 3-1 up from the first leg at Ibrox. And football stories with the Ox tomorrow at 3:30 on BT Sport 2. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at the centre of that one. 3-0 here to Arsenal. Here's Fabian Delph for Aston Villa. And it went towards Cleverley, but it was well read by Coquelin, who does that really important job, Robbie. Just sweeping sweeping up in front of his back four and picking up those loose balls and not really allowing Aston Villa to make anything happen. Here's Ozil. Akore with a a clumsy challenge that goes unpunished, and then Ozil finds a way past him and then look to take on Hutton as well, but just slightly overruns it. But Michael's mentioned Coquelin in this second half, and we see the importance of him again. It's 3-0, but he does all of that defensive work for them in midfield.
Great story, really, you know. Charlton come back into the team of Manchester City and he come alive in that game. He was brilliant, hasn't looked back since.
We're going to make a change here, Aston Villa. Kieran Richardson, who's come back from injury to start today, is being replaced by Leandro Bacuna, who's had a run of starts in the side under Tim Sherwood, but Alan Hutton got the nod today. The Dutch under-21 international on with 23 minutes of this FA Cup final still to play.
Yeah, and it's Alan Hutton that's now switching sides. He's going to play his left full-back, Bacuna playing at right-back. Not a natural right-back, I don't think. That's playing further forward, has got a good set piece in him. But Aston Villa can't really get the ball in and around Arsenal's box at the moment, so it's a positive change.
Here's Hutton then going forward down the left-hand side for the first time, although running into Hector Bellerin.
I think we've seen a lot of that today from Aston Villa players, Darren, running into the opposition, trying too hard. The ball's always in front of them, they can't get to grips with it. Very poor Aston Villa today.
There's Coquelin. Now Alexis Sanchez. I know that it's been relatively one-sided today, but when you see some of the football that Arsenal have played today and the kind of goal that we've seen from Alexis Sanchez in a week where certain individuals have dragged football's reputation through the mud, you do get a reminder on days like this just why we love football so much on a big occasion at Wembley.
I think we've just seen the better players in an Arsenal shirt. You can go up against your opposition, you can have spirit, you can have hard work, but if that team works as hard as you and they got the better players, inevitably they'll win. And that's what we've seen with this Arsenal 11 today.
It's been a head-scratching day so far for the Aston Villa manager Tim Sherwood. And it looks as though it's going to be congratulations to Southampton, doesn't it? Because a win for Arsenal in the FA Cup and they will be in Europe next season. And of course the great news is that from next season BTSport will be the only place to watch the Champions League and the Europa League live from August 2015, and for the next 3 seasons all of the Champions League and Europa League will be exclusive to BTSport. As Aston Villa make another change, and Ashley Westwood, who's tried his best in central midfield, will go off. And Carlos Sanchez, the Colombian international who they signed from Elche in the summer, comes on to replace him, pretty much like for like in midfield.
Yeah, it is, and you know, Westwood hasn't had a good influence on the game today, but not many years ago he was at Crewe, you know, playing his trade there. He's played an FA Cup final, you know, it's going to be on the losing side, but...
Well, he's played all of his cards now as well. Tim Sherwood, with Agbonlahor, Bacuna and Sanchez being sent on for Aston Villa, with just less than 20 minutes of the 90 to go, and the yellow and blue ribbons close to being attached to the FA Cup. It'll be an historic victory, this of course, for Arsenal, their 12th win in the FA Cup. It's their 19th final today. It will separate them from Manchester United, who have 11 wins in the competition, and they'll retain it as well, which has proved difficult for sides to do down the years. There's Carlos Sanchez, but the other Sanchez, Alexis, quickly on the scene for Arsenal. And then they weave those short little passes to move through midfield. Aston Villa still waiting for their first shot on target in this FA Cup final. That's been how dominant Arsenal have been right the way through, Michael.
It has, and I know Robbie's saying Aston Villa have been pretty shocking today, but you know, you've got to give full credit to Arsenal. They've absolutely been brilliant. They're passing, they're finishing. They've scored 3, they could have probably scored more as well. Shay Given's certainly been the goalkeeper that's kept them at bay. It could have been more.
Here's Leandro Bacuna, operating down his more favoured right-hand side with Alan Hutton on the left. Now Grealish. Cleverly, Bacuna with the ball in the Mertesacker, but the Frenchman equal to it, and then lovely skill from Alexis Sanchez to get the ball under control and then ghost away from the first Aston Villa defender and win his side the throw.
I know there's no shot on target, but I've got a bit of sympathy with Benteke. Yes, he could work harder, but he keeps making runs. Michael, when do you get to a point where you're thinking, do you know what, the ball's not going to come in the box, I'm not going to make that run?
When it stops coming in and people don't see your runs, play to your strengths in many ways, and your head starts dropping a little bit, I suppose, but I'm pretty sure that the ball comes into the box, he'll still be eager to get on the end of it. One of the lads mentioned at the start, this could be Benteke's last game for Aston Villa, you never know. You want to go out with a bang, certainly you want to score at Wembley.
Well, you would be surprised if someone doesn't activate the £32.5 million buyout clause that Tim Sherwood mentioned in the week. Liverpool have been one of the teams rumoured to be interested, but I wouldn't have thought they'd be on their own. With a man with genuine pedigree in terms of scoring goals in the Premier League, Christian Benteke. Here's Bellerin for Arsenal.
If I was an Arsenal sub now, I'd be warming up, I'd be trying to get the manager's eye. 3-0 up in the cup final, you want to get on that field. If I was Wilshere, I'd be sprinting up and down by the manager.
I think looking at this Arsenal squad, we were actually presuming you would be an Arsenal sub, not if you were an Arsenal sub. There's Stan Kroenke, the Arsenal owner. Very successful sports owner in the United States as well, in the Denver, Colorado area. And of course he's the money man behind things at the Emirates. And he's going to see his captain climb the steps and lift the trophy in about 16 minutes' time, unless we have the greatest comeback in FA Cup history from Aston Villa. Here's Jack Grealish. Bacuna. Now Cleverly. Just haven't been able to find a way really to get in behind the Arsenal centre-backs. They might do this time, and then the long leg of Mertesacker arrives to clear it away.
I think we've seen one of the greatest goals in FA Cup final history today. No question about it. That strike from Sanchez, the movement on the ball. We've seen some great FA Cup final goals. Ricky Villa, Roberto Di Matteo, but I think that's as good as any I've seen.
There's Bacuna. Cleverly, he just made a little move ahead of him, but he goes back instead towards Carlos Sanchez. Bacuna once more. Now Grealish. Cleverly. And a real bit of space here for Fabian Delph, the Aston Villa captain. Here's Christian Benteke. Delph, though, closed down quickly, and now Arsenal can bring it away with Aaron Ramsey. And they've got Walcott on the run, and they hit Walcott in stride, and a core race over there, and Walcott just couldn't quite wrap his foot round it enough, Michael.
Yeah, and that's Aston Villa's problem now. They've got to try to go and nick a goal, but Arsenal break, beautiful ball, just onside. There's Walcott, look at that for a first touch, absolutely perfect. He was left-footed, then obviously he'd take it down and then strike across, but as he's right-footed, he's just trying to feed that curl top corner. He just doesn't really connect properly, and he pushes it out wide.
Well, here's the first Arsenal change. Robbie was saying that the subs would all be trying to catch the manager's eye. Theo Walcott is the first player to go off, the man who got the ball rolling with a goal to give Arsenal the half-time lead, his 7th goal of the season, and he took it really well, Robbie, didn't he?
Yeah, it was the tactical change for the manager. He put Theo Walcott at left-hand side. Ball drops to him, he's on the second ball, and he smashes it in with his left foot, weak foot. Great finish from Walcott.
So off goes Walcott, and on comes Olivier Giroud. And I think Arsene Wenger's going to take the opportunity here to make a host of changes, because Jack Wilshere is coming on as well. Mesut Ozil, the other player, who's gone off to be replaced by Jack Wilshere, who's had another season blighted by that ankle problem, but he scored that excellent goal, didn't he, on the final day of the season against West Bromwich Albion. He's Arsenal's longest-serving player, Jack Wilshere. He's been at the club since the age of 9. Here's Alexis Sanchez. You get the feeling, don't you, that Arsenal might like a few more before this is over in 13 or so minutes' time. Here's Hector Bellerin. Now Santi Cazorla. Wilshere makes a bit of space and he gets away from the first challenge, and then Akore came in to try and make the second. It was a ball in towards Olivier Giroud and away by the Villa defenders, but Arsenal will come once more. Here's Nacho Monreal. Santi Cazorla. Now Wilshere. Nacho Monreal. Giroud's on the move in the middle. Instead it goes shorter into Alexis Sanchez, and then back to Nacho Monreal. And Akore had to be alive to that situation that was developing nicely for Arsenal. Good challenge by Laurent Koscielny. He's had no time at all or any kind of service, has he, today, Christian Benteke? It must be so frustrating if you're Aston Villa's centre-forward today.
Yeah, as a centre-forward, and that's the type of balls you're getting, where you just having to help your team almost get hold of the ball and bring people into play, and then you lose it. It doesn't half get frustrating.
I presume you'd go along with Robbie's assessment, wouldn't you? That that's one of the great FA Cup goals that we've seen from Alexis Sanchez today. We've debated good strikes a lot on BT Sport during the course of this season. Of course, Robbie did neglect your goal that you scored famously against Arsenal all those years ago in Cardiff.
Yeah, and I think Steven Gerrard will have something to say about that as well. He scored a beauty, didn't he, against West Ham a few years ago, but no, that's got to be right up there with great FA Cup strikes.
Here's Gabby Agbonlahor, and he's on the move for the first time here. Gabby Agbonlahor, and he's dragged down, and John Moss had a look and then said play on. It was Coquelin who was back there making the challenge. Agbonlahor can't believe he's not got a penalty.
Nor can I, Darren. I mean, I'm just not sure whether that was on the edge of the box or just inside, but what I am sure about is that's a penalty. It's certainly a foul. It's just on the edge, isn't it?
Maybe just a fraction
on the
outside.
edge, but how the referee's not given a free kick, I don't know. He does brilliant. Agbonlahor runs, really penetrating run, direct run. John Moss has got to see that. He's got to give a foul for that.
It's not a penalty by about 6 inches, but it has to be a foul, Robbie, doesn't it?
John Moss, top of the Premier League blunders list, and there's another one from him. Terrible decision. How he can't see that, I've no idea. It's just outside the box. Terrible, terrible decision, John Moss.
Agbonlahor looking for Benteke. Bellerin, though, had tucked in nicely from right back to make the challenge. There's Ramsey. And the challenge made for Aston Villa from Alan Hutton, right in front of a very frustrated Tim Sherwood. They've been nowhere near, Michael, the intensity levels that we saw when they came here in the semi-final against Liverpool.
No, they ran Liverpool off the pitch, didn't they, with loads of enthusiasm, loads of energy, loads of skill as well. They just haven't reached those levels today. Arsenal have been dominant, really, from minute one.
Just less than 9 minutes of the 90 to play. Jack Wilshere for Arsenal, comfortable with the 3-0 lead. Alexis Sanchez, whose second goal will be remembered for quite some time when they talk about FA Cup finals, and he's caught there by Bakuna.
What Arsenal have done very well, Darren, they've played little triangles, they've kept the ball. You know, Aston Villa can't get near him. I agree with Michael, they've been magnificent today, as bad as Aston Villa have been. And John Moss just books Agbonlahor there, obviously frustration from that, not awarding the free kick, and rightly so. I think Agbonlahor should have a go at the referee there. He's got to see that.
It's the 5th yellow card, that, for Aston Villa. Hutton, Sanchez or rather Hutton, Westwood, Cleverley, Delph and Agbonlahor, the 5. No yellow cards shown to Arsenal players today. They've been able to win this game at their own pace, really. There is John Moss. This is the decision again, Michael.
Yeah, well, I don't think there's any question. You see the foul. It's a certain foul. The only question is whether it was a penalty or a free kick. Probably just a free kick. But John Moss has got to. I mean, his view is slightly impaired. He's got to give that. It's a real poor decision. And just to rub salt in Agbonlahor's wound, he gives him a yellow card for arguing the case.
Michael, but as a player, you're going to have a go at the referee there, aren't you?
Oh, well, the frustration, you're 3-0 down, you know it's a foul in your heart of hearts, and then the referee, you have to say something to him, and then you get given a yellow card as well.
You see VAR dragging down Olivier Giroud here. And Ron Vlaar's hurt himself in the challenge as well, the Dutch international defender. And 89,283 here at Wembley today. And a wonderfully colourful scene all around the stadium. Shay Given and the Aston Villa goal is at the Aston Villa end, which is the west end of Wembley. All of the claret and blue down at that end and the yellow and blue at the other. Those Aston Villa supporters are all waving their flags at kick-off, but they've become a deflated bunch as they've been taught a lesson, really, in cup final terms by this impressive Arsenal team. Here's Cazorla. Now Bellerin. Lots and lots of space for Nacho Monreal. Lifted forward towards Alexis Sanchez, who fouls Akore.
Got to say, I think Ramsey, his vision today for that right-hand side has been superb. Zola in the middle of the park pulling the strings. Magnificent Arsenal display.
There's Jack Wilshere, who with the European Championship finals at the end of next season will be looking for a decent summer to get himself in tip-top shape, and then an injury-free campaign next season. Really good run by Wilshere. Vlaar didn't deal with it initially, and then cleverly in to tidy things up behind him inside the Villa box, and now Delph can bring it forward to Agbonlahor. Runs away from Nacho Monreal and plays it out towards Grealish. Only Benteke in the middle. Grealish to take on Bellerin, who gets a block on the cross, and then Grealish goes down into the challenge of Bellerin, and again John Moss waves off the penalty appeals.
Well, there's another one. It certainly looked again like a pullback there, Darren. Grealish going down, he got past his man. I wasn't sure whether the ball was out or not, but obviously the referee's assistant didn't flag for that, so interesting to see that one again.
In the meantime, here's Bakuna with Monreal ahead of him. Coquelin there too. Now Grealish thought about the shot initially, and then Koscielny gets the block on it once he gets the shot away. And now Cazorla can bring it forward for Arsenal, and here's some space for Alexis Sanchez, which if you're a tired Aston Villa defender is the last thing you want to see. Giroud tried to play it back towards him, and Ron Vlaar steps in to win it back for Aston Villa.
That was the last ball he wanted to play, really. Sanchez's run was an unselfish run. It was for somebody else to run in behind him, to run into the space that he had left. He was never ever going to get that ball. Giroud just needed to take another touch, wait for the next wave of player to run into that space.
There's Leandro Bakuna. Nacho Monreal tight to him though. He's still able to get the cross in towards Christian Benteke. And then we see the aerial ability of Mertesacker in his own box, having seen his aerial prowess in the Villa box to get what will prove to be the all-important third goal for Arsenal, which did seem to snuff out any lingering fight that Aston Villa might have had. Well, this is the penalty shout for Grealish, Michael.
Well, he does brilliant, doesn't he? Fights his way through, and you see Bellerin's arm goes over the shoulder. I think that's enough to bring him down, and I think they've been very harshly done by a couple of times there. Grealish, I think that's a foul, and certainly the free kick on the edge of the box before, and well, it's just not gone Aston Villa's way, has it?
Robbie, Michael says penalty. What about you?
Yeah, I'm total agreement with Michael. Definite penalty. No, Aston Villa there should have had a free kick on the edge of the box at Bull and the definite penalty there.
Here's Aaron Ramsey for Arsenal, and Bakuna getting back ahead of him. And he's got himself in a bit of a corner here, Bakuna. He did well in the end, didn't he? Took a real gamble, running through his own 6-yard box and only a couple of yards off his own goal line, but I suppose when you get away with it, you get away with it.
See, that was a free kick there, Giroud on the fullback. He didn't give a penalty up there for Grealish. That's exactly the same there.
Well, don't forget we've got that on Wednesday night in the Toulon tournament. England beat Ivory Coast 2-1 this afternoon, and then the UEFA Under-21 Championship. We've got the whole tournament starting on the 17th of June, following Gareth Southgate and his team out to the Czech Republic. Fingers crossed for a successful summer for England's young players. It's been a successful afternoon for Arsenal's senior players here at Wembley. And all the noise you can hear at the moment is coming from the Arsenal fans in the yellow and blue. In by Leandro Bakuna, and away by Mertesacker as far as Don Lahore, who's still trying to battle his way through. Coquelin with another tackle, another interception, and he's just caught in the challenge as well, the young Frenchman. And Arsenal will make their third and final change, and Alexis Sanchez to be replaced by Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain after leaving an indelible mark on the 2015 FA Cup final with a stunningly struck goal.
Yeah, I think his performance today sums up his first full season in English football. Full of energy, full of goals, assists. He's been brilliant today, as have all of Arsenal's players, but that goal was an absolute thunderbolt, right forward. He caught it so well. Shay Given thinks it's going to his right, and then it starts fading away to his left, and then just in the last 5 or 6 yards, the ball starts dipping and dips just underneath the crossbar. Brilliant performance.
In Michael's word, a thunderbolt. In your words, Fletcher, boomer from Sanchez.
Yeah, today when you can try and reinvent the English language as well, unsuccessfully in my case.
Oh, a worldie.
A worldie. And it's going to be another FA Cup win for Arsenal. I suppose the Aston Villa players and supporters will be downhearted, but their main battle was to stay in the Premier League, which they won under Tim Sherwood. They'll come back stronger, I'm sure, next season. Whether they bring Christian Benteke back with them remains to be seen, but it is going to be another big summer for Villa, the 4th straight season where they finished in the bottom half of the table, but it was all about staying up, and the bonus would have been if they could lift some silverware at the end of it all, but they've just been second best today against a very good Arsenal side. I think Santi Cazorla has been named the man of the match today. Would you go along with that, Michael? Cazorla is the man of the match. He's certainly been all over the field, hasn't he?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't argue with it, but I think Arsenal have had some, well, quite a few good performers today. Obviously Sanchez for his goal and all-round play. Coquelin's been brilliant. I think there's so many candidates today. I certainly wouldn't argue with Cazorla.
Yeah, I think Cazorla's been very good along with Ramsey, Sanchez. But as Michael says, so many good performances. You've got to say Mertesacker's controlled Benteke really well.
Carlos Sanchez with another hopeful ball in towards Christian Benteke. 2 minutes of additional time remains before John Moss brings to an end the 134th FA Cup final, and Arsenal can climb the steps for the 12th time and lift the trophy that's being engraved as we speak.
He's not being that brave. He's put A, and that's all he's put so far. So.
It's been a real measure, though, hasn't it, of the Arsenal performance today, that they've still not had a shot on target, Aston Villa, and they've been dominant pretty much throughout, haven't they? They've never really had to find top gear either in the process, have they, Arsenal, Robbie?
It looks like a top 4 team against a bottom 4 team. Simple as that. Arsenal been dominant.
Grealish plays it in towards Christian Benteke, who won't keep it in play. Just to add insult to injury at the end of a match that has brought a smile to the face of Mesut Ozil, who can start to celebrate with Alexis Sanchez behind him. The Arsenal supporters in their yellow and blue, and Arsene Wenger, who's going to join George Ramsey as a manager with 6 FA Cup victories. They can look forward to the victory parade tomorrow, and he'll be front and centre, Arsene Wenger, on the open-top bus tour. Forward it goes towards Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Here's Jack Wilshere. And then fizzed in towards Olivier Giroud, who caps off a tremendous Arsenal performance with a 4th goal. The FA Cup belongs to Arsenal. Arsenal 4, Aston Villa 0.
Yeah, and it's a trademark Giroud goal, isn't it? Robbie was talking about the runs that he likes to make across that near post, and there's one of them. That's where you score your goals as a centre-forward. Brilliant run, and he'll be delighted to make that contribution. Another good season for Giroud, and to get the goal that wraps up this cup final. Nobody can argue with the scoreline. As the ball gets fizzed in, it's a lovely little run. Should be picked up, really. Certainly onside. Yeah, he's certainly onside. The ball gets played back, and it's a lovely little deft flick, isn't it?
Such lazy defending there from this Bakun. Has got to get goal side. You can put your arms in the air. Giroud run to near post. Shea given no chance. Wenger very, very happy.
Well, Olivier Giroud started the season by scoring here in the Community Shield against Manchester City, and he scores the goal that clinches a 12th FA Cup for Arsenal. Arsene Wenger can shake hands with the Aston Villa staff. A comprehensive victory for Arsenal, who retain the FA Cup.
Yeah, never easy to do. Well, to win it once is hard enough, but retaining it, fabulous achievement. Arsene Wenger takes the competition very seriously, and so he should. Brilliant competition to win. These lads will never ever forget this day.
So obviously I've never won the FA Cup, Michael. What's it like now when you've actually won it? What's the feeling, what's the emotion like, knowing you're going to go up them famous steps and lift the trophy?
Well, as I mentioned, Robbie, these moments, these will live with you for the rest of your life. Winning trophies, it's okay qualifying for the Champions League and things like that, but nothing quite beats the actual day, lifting a trophy. And now you just can't wait to get the party started. You know the season's finished. You can go and party long on into the night, and that's what I'm sure these lads will be doing.
That's exactly what those Arsenal players will do. His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge will have to present the trophy to the Arsenal captain Per Mertesacker today. Not an Aston Villa player as he might like to have done with his allegiances to the West Midlands side. The Aston Villa fans can troop away, but the Arsenal fans will stay and celebrate, and let's get some immediate reaction from the pitch. Ray Stops is with Aaron Ramsey.
Arsenal, the most successful club in FA Cup history. How does that sound?
Sounds brilliant. You know, we worked really hard to try and get back to another final, and we managed to do that. And then the next job is to go on and win it. And you know, they give us a tough game. You know, they're in good form of late, but you know, we felt confident coming into the game. We've beaten them twice already this season, so you know, we fancied our chances, and you know, we had a really convincing performance in the end.
This was a comprehensive victory. How about Alexis Sanchez's goal today, but his performance throughout the season?
Yeah, it was a brilliant strike. You know, he's come up with a few of them already this season, so it's no surprise, you know. But the whole team put in a shift today. We really wanted this. You know, we won one last year, so we really wanted that feeling again this year, and we've got it. So it's just great for the whole club now to win 2 things in 2 seasons. So yeah, we're delighted.
There's your skipper. Per, congratulations. What was at the heart of that victory today?
I think encouraging performance from the start. I think we played with focus from the first second, didn't allow them chances, and we had a couple of first half, and few got us the league, but overall we deserved it because we played better and we executed well today.
You were immense, all your teammates were immense. How about Alexis Sanchez's goal?
And that's his job. We believe in his strength, and this season, first season for him, he has shown what he can do, what he's capable of. I think we can build on that, but this success, we don't take that for granted, I can tell you.
And finally, Arsenal, the most successful club in FA Cup history, and Arsene Wenger is the most successful manager in the modern era.
That says everything. All the doubters out there, I think we proved today that we can win titles, first of all, and let's see what we can do in a championship next season. But first of all, as I said, we don't take it for granted. We celebrate as much as possible.
Thank you.
For Arsenal, elation. For Aston Villa, devastation. The emotion of football laid bare on the turf here at Wembley today. That's the biggest winning margin in an FA Cup final for 21 years. Arsenal were brilliant here, right?
Fantastic today. I'm so proud of everybody. I think we started the game very well. Villa were a little bit caught in the headlights, but I think that Arsenal, Ozil, Santi Cazorla, Alexis Sanchez was just fantastic today. And yeah, and Aaron Ramsey there saying that beating them twice today, so they were confident. But I was expecting a bit more from Villa. It didn't come, and I think you've got to give Arsenal credit for that.
Yeah, I just think it was the case of one team knowing exactly what they were going to do and carrying out their plan, and another team coming out, maybe got caught up in the emotions of the occasion and didn't really execute what they were told to do in the change from their manager. And I think, as I said, they struggled today.
OK, let's hear from that manager. Arsene Wenger is with Ray.
Arsenal, the most successful club in FA Cup history, and you're the most successful manager in the modern era. How does that sound?
Very well, very good, and we are very proud of it. But I believe as well we did it in a convincing way today. From the first to the last minute, we looked a real team, and we have shown that we have made progress. And I just would like to congratulate everybody from my staff as well who worked so hard. We had a difficult week to get here, but in the end we are rewarded.
You trusted Theo Walcott and he responded for you.
He responded. Sometimes you try to use the players who are on a good run, you know, and it worked.
Do you remember last year you got absolutely soaked by your players? You better get ready again, I think.
No, today I keep away.
You're going to keep away from them?
I will.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that's going to happen. I think those players will track down their manager. It was one of those days where, and everyone talks about management as constantly taking gambles, one of those days where every gamble paid off for Arsenal, and particularly the big one, starting with Theo Walcott.
Yeah, but I thought everything that Arsenal did today, Jake, was very professional and correct. The captain and the manager said it. From the first minute to the last, they controlled the game. Every player was better than their opposite member who they fought up against. They were so dominant, even culminating in the fourth goal. So easy in the end. The defending was really laxed by Aston Villa, and I was slightly disappointed, but 4-0 doesn't flatter them at all. They've beaten them 5-0, 3-0 this year. The fact that they've beaten them 4, I think, was just today.
OK, we saw disappointment there on the face of His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge. He'll have to present the cup to the king of the FA Cup at the moment, Arsene Wenger, with 6 wins in the modern era. And it was just one of those days where Aston Villa just didn't turn up, Andy.
No, they're overwhelmed completely. They were outmanoeuvred, outthought. Arsenal, when they had good possession, they used it well. Villa, when they had possession, they were too predictable. It was just coming into Benteke. He had a tough afternoon. He didn't really get any service of any quality, and they never really rose to the occasion. That was the only way forward I could see for Villa today, that they might somehow elevate their game. They couldn't do it. In fact, they got worse.
I think Santi Cazorla will enjoy these photos. They could go on his office wall. What a player he was today. Right, let's hear from Ray. He's with another of the heroes out there. Ray.
Theo, the manager showed faith in you and you responded.
Yeah, you know, that was fantastic for the manager to do that. And I've worked so hard from a long-term injury. I missed last year, I missed all of this. And it was massive for me personally, but this team is truly blessed, and we've got to be doing this more often, and because I've been here a long time, this is the best group I've ever been part of.
I've been saying to all your teammates, Arsenal are the most successful club in FA Cup history, and your manager's the most successful manager in the modern era.
Oh, well, he's a truly great man, truly great manager. He's been doing it for a long time now, and even when things aren't so great, he's always believed in the team, he's always put it on himself, and it just shows the amount of faith that he has in this whole squad.
So go on, tell us about the goal you scored that really got your team off running.
Yeah, Alexi, he sort of changed up front, and I went on the left for just a brief spell, and it worked in my favour, and the ball's finally come out to me. When things happen, they just happen. And I had to hit it quite early, or it would probably been a block. But I got to admit, Shay Given was absolutely fantastic. He made some great saves, and it's an amazing thing to go in.
Look at these fans. You can't leave, you know.
Hey.
You can't leave. I read you're going to have contract negotiations. You're in a great position. You can't leave. They won't allow it.
This club is absolutely fantastic. They've been with me for a long time. You know, I'm sure things will get sorted out, but I want to enjoy, you know, tonight and with these guys. Yeah.
Enjoy collecting the cup. That means you'll stay, by the way, doesn't it?
Of course.
There you go, we got that on camera. Of course was his answer. Paul Scholes is alongside us. Paul, you've won 3 of these. Give us an insight into what those Arsenal players are feeling right now.
Well, they're obviously very happy, not just winning the cup, but the way they did it. I thought they outclassed Aston Villa without a shadow of a doubt. The passing, the movement, the play. Ozil at times was brilliant. Cazorla was, you know, brilliant as well. Great on the ball. Sanchez's movement and obviously his goal. But I think a man who deserves special credit is Coquelin. I thought he was excellent in midfield. He brought the play up and just did the simple things, and it allowed everybody else to play.
OK, there's John Moss making his way up to collect his medal for refereeing the cup final. I think Robbie Savage might be off his Christmas card list, though, for this year. Let me hand you back to our commentary team.
I think you might be right, Jake. You feel he certainly should have given 1 penalty to Aston Villa, don't you?
Undoubtedly, I thought the tackle on Bonhole was just outside the box, and then the pullback on Grealish, definite penalty.
Well, I suppose it classes this, doesn't it, as the worst walk in football. At the end of a season where you've battled hard to get past Blackpool and Bournemouth and Leicester and West Bromwich Albion, the height of the semi-final victory against Liverpool, and then to lose so emphatically here in the FA Cup final at the end of a season where, let's not forget, they've secured a place in the Premier League and won that relegation battle. It's a walk they made 15 years ago at the old Wembley Stadium when they lost to Chelsea, when Roberto Di Matteo scored the only goal. And you've got to feel for those Aston Villa players, Michael, haven't you, making that weary walk up the steps to collect their losers' medals, something they just don't want to see.
No, but I think they can look in the mirror tonight, know that they were beaten by the better team. And of course, you look back a couple of months ago, and if you say to these Aston Villa players, you're not going to win the FA Cup, but you're going to stay in the Premier League, then I think they would have snapped your hand off. So yeah, disappointing day. They'll probably regret this day for a long, long time, but they've got a lot to be proud of over these last couple of months.
Randy Lerner, whether he'll still be the Aston Villa owner by the time they kick off in the Premier League in August, remains to be seen. Greg Dyke, the chairman of the FA, has been involved in an interesting week. He's up there alongside His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge, who is also, of course, the president of the Football Association. And you can tell by the look on their faces, Robbie, just how much this is hurting, not just the players, but that man Tim Sherwood as well.
Yeah, I've walked up the steps as a loser in the League Cup final, and it's not a nice thing. You know, you just want to get your medal, get off the pitch, you know, and let the other team celebrate. They'll be very disappointed. I think most of them players, well, all them players, with the exception of Shay Given, can get on that bus and think, I've underperformed. I thought Shay Given was fantastic, as Theo Walcott alluded to in his interview. I think every Aston Villa player will be disappointed in their own performance.
He'll go away and try and ensure that Aston Villa can come back stronger. Of course, the biggest job he has now is maybe persuading Christian Benteke to stay at Villa Park, with some big clubs sniffing around, and that buyout clause of £32.5 million, which means you can have the Belgian striker. And there's a nice touch from an Arsenal perspective. The club captain, Mikel Arteta, who wasn't able to be in the squad today, has got an Arsenal shirt on and the captain's armband as well. And we are hearing that he's probably going to climb the steps, Michael, and pick up the trophy along with Mertesacker. I was speaking to the Arsenal people this week, and they were saying they have so much respect for Mikel Arteta that it would be his decision today whether he goes up the steps or not, and they would bow to what he wanted to do.
Yeah, nice touch. Obviously being club captain, similar to when I won the FA Cup, actually. I think Jamie Redknapp was club captain but didn't play at the time, and he lifted the trophy on the day. So yeah, a lot of people look up to Mikel Arteta. He is the club captain. Nice touch. Presume they'll both lift it at the same time, him and Mertesacker.
Of course, he had the opportunity to lift that trophy with yellow and blue ribbons on it today, 12 months ago against Hull City, when Arsenal had to come from behind and needed an Aaron Ramsey goal in extra time. But it was a much more straightforward route today, as those Arsenal players start to climb the 107 steps up to the Royal Box here at Wembley. where the FA Cup awaits. It's their 12th win in the competition, which is a record, and the 6th FA Cup success for Arsene Wenger as a manager. And it ends a season where they finish 3rd in the Premier League and offers hope of a challenge maybe on 4 fronts next season. It's also a win, of course, celebrated by fans of Southampton, who are now in the Europa League next season with the Arsenal victory. And they've already got the victory parade planned for tomorrow, which will go from the Emirates to Islington Town Hall and back again. The same route as 12 months ago when they beat Hull City. As the Arsenal players climb those final few steps up to the royal box and to the moment they've waited for. It's a record-breaking day for Arsenal, winners of the FA Cup for a 12th time. An FA Cup that has yellow and blue ribbons on the famous old trophy. Smiles on the faces of the winners after desolation on the face of the losers. And the 2 senior players in the Arsenal dressing room wait to receive the FA Cup. The German international, the World Cup winner Mertesacker, and Mikel Arteta. And despite the fact he told Ray that he might just keep a low profile for this one, Arsene Wenger has made his way up to the royal box as well, with the red and white scarf on, to share in this victorious moment for Arsenal. His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge preparing to hand over the trophy, as Arsene Wenger gets a shake of the hand and a slap on the back for the work that he's done this season. And now the moment the Arsenal players and the Arsenal supporters have waited for. The FA Cup stays in North London. The FA Cup stays with Arsenal.
The Royal Box is rocking at Wembley. Last season ended a wait of 9 years for a trophy. It's now silverware in successive seasons. Can this, Ian Wright, be the catalyst, though, for Arsenal making that next step that their fans want to challenge for the Premier League?
Well, you hope so. I think that them winning this FA Cup and finishing 3rd is definitely progress. It's only a little bit of progress, but it is progress, and you've got to take whatever progress you can get.
I think we were here last year, we said the same thing. They've got to go on and improve this season. They've done much the same as last year. Yeah, it's great to get a trophy under your belt, but they want to be getting more than just finishing 4th in the league and get our 3rd and getting in the Champions League. They want to be pushing to win the league, and they've not done that for a while now.
But this sort of thing brings momentum, though. Successive trophies, well, they're 12 more than anyone else.
Jake Rio was right. We said exactly the same thing last year. It's what they do now. Stan Kroenke, the owner's up there. Maybe he will think to himself, right, now is the time to go. We've won this trophy the last couple of years. We need to win the Barclays Premier League. And how much will he invest in the trophy? We don't know, but they're going to have to do something special in the summer, because the gap between themselves and Chelsea is still too much.
They're the nearest challengers, though. They're in a better shape than Man United. They're in much better shape than Liverpool.
Man City.
They're the nearest challengers to Chelsea and City. They are, and I do think that, you know, back-to-back trophies for them is progress. I think Arsene Wenger has withstood a lot of criticism, some of it justified, a lot of it very unfair, and I think his team are improving. They still need that something. There's still one.
You know what it is? They need that ruthless mentality. They don't really get going until just about after Christmas. They go on the best run of games all the time just after Christmas. You've got to start the season as you mean to go on. That's a mentality. That's something that comes from the top down and filters through the squad.
You mean it comes from the manager?
You've got to start that. You've got to demand from day one, because you can't play catch-up with teams like Chelsea. Mourinho, when he came in and we was at Man United, he set the bar high, and we had to kind of react to that. This Arsenal team were in a position they can strike and do that. We'll see next season.
I totally agree with that.
He has been there and won it. Liverpool, the league.
I totally agree. I think from close season now. When they get back to the first game of the season, they have to be ready to go, and they've got to keep key players fit. I think this squad now, they're as close as they have been. I think they can really challenge next year with probably a centre half, maybe a left back, maybe a centre midfield player. But I think this squad is very close. You look at the bench as well with the players who've got quality they've coming on as well. I think the squad is not too far away from Chelsea.
I think Oxlade, Chamberlain and Jack Wilshere, they need to stay fit, them two, because they're in and out of this team quite a lot. If they could get a run of games together along with what they've got there and really justify positions, push each other on.
OK, well, perhaps Chelsea being so dominant in the Premier League means that the money men at Arsenal will start to spend big. You saw Mesut Ozil there carrying the trophy. He obviously cost a few quid, and that amazing goal today from Alexis Sanchez, a reminder of what money can bring. And there he is, Arsene Wenger, 6 FA Cup wins in the modern era. Congratulations to him. Right, more live football coming your way tomorrow here on BT Sport. The Scottish Premiership playoff final second leg from 2:15 at Fir Park here on BT Sport 1. Motherwell have a 2-goal advantage, leaving Rangers needing a minor miracle to avoid another season in the Championship. So you can join us for that from tomorrow afternoon. But after the break, we'll take a look back at the goals, the incidents, the talking points from this FA Cup final. An FA Cup final that means Arsenal have won this trophy more times than any other club. Stay where you are, plenty more to come here on BT Sport.